Chapter 39. Colorado Rockies. The year was 1947. After the end of his 1947 summer campaigns, William Branham looked forward to getting home, seeing his family, and taking a much-needed rest. When he drove into Jeffersonville, he discovered that both sides of his block were so jammed with cars that he could not even find a place to park. One look at his house told him why. People stood everywhere, milling around in the front yard and along the sidewalks, sitting in their cars and standing on the front porch. All these strangers were evidently waiting for him to get home. Bill did not have enough energy left to stop and talk to them. He kept right on driving. For 5 days, Bill stayed with a family from his church while he pondered and prayed about what to do. Finally, some of the deacons from Branham Tabernacle went over and talked to the squatters, explaining Bill's need for rest and privacy. The crowd dispersed and Bill went home. It had now been well over a year since the angel of the Lord had met him and commissioned him to take the gift of divine healing to the people of the world. The results of that commission were burgeoning beyond his wildest dreams. In 1 short year, his ministry had sprung from the humblest of beginnings to touch the lives of tens of thousands of people in North America. Such rampant growth did not come without a heavy price. The tremendous strain from a year of constant effort was finally catching up with him. Long nights of prayer, too little sleep, the constant shifting from city to city, all these contributed to Bill's fatigue. Yet there seemed to be something else involved, something spiritual, which Bill had trouble understanding. During the campaigns, when Bill's left hand would swell to the vibrations of a demon, it was more than just a physical reaction to the disease. It was spiritual warfare. Although the power of Jesus Christ always proved greater, still these demons did not leave without a fight. Bill felt the impact of each battle. When the disease vibrations stopped, Bill felt part of his own strength drain away. By the end of each healing service, he would stagger about, almost unconscious. The following day, no matter how much sleep he got, he still felt tired. Then the next night's prayer line would begin, and Bill would spend another 4 to 5 hours battling demons as he prayed for the sick. He had no chance to recover his strength, and his shaky condition got progressively worse. He knew he needed a break from his rigorous schedule. Maybe if he took a couple months off, he could regain his stamina. Bill spent much of September planning his new home. He purchased a lot at 208 Ewing Lane in Jeffersonville, then hired a local contractor to do the construction. Bill also answered his mail. He spent many days alone in his cave in the woods, petitioning God on behalf of the thousands of prayer requests that had piled up in his absence. There were also hundreds of letters from ministers asking him to hold healing campaigns in their areas. Obviously, he could not accommodate them all. The more Bill prayed about it, the more he liked an idea Gordon Lindsay had proposed several months earlier. Reverend Lindsay had offered to arrange a tour through the Pacific Northwest. Lindsay suggested that these meetings be organized around a bold new concept. Judging that Bill's unique ministry would appeal to Christians from a wide range of denominations, Reverend Lindsay wanted to organize as many different denominations as possible into a single cooperative sponsorship. The idea excited Bill because ever since the angel met him and gave him his commission, he had hoped that his ministry would help unify the fragmented Christian community. He thought about the vision he had seen in 1933, where he stood between 2 orchards, gathering apples and plums from both orchards. That was when the Lord had told him to do the work of an evangelist. Bill always took that to mean he was to preach the gospel in all denominations and never join himself to any single group. So he was happy to let Reverend Lindsay set up a series of meetings in the Pacific Northwest for the first part of November. In October of 1947, Bill took a vacation. Traveling west to Colorado, he rented pack horses and rode high up into the Rocky Mountains to spend several weeks hunting, camping, and communing with his Maker. Although the past year had brought him in direct contact with tens of thousands of people, in his heart he remained a man of the wilderness. Here among the high valleys and lofty peaks of the Colorado Rockies, He could hike free from crowds and pressing concerns. The frosty mornings around the campfire invigorated him, and the warm afternoons with their soft breezes whispering in the pines soothed his frayed nerves. One day Bill spotted a pair of golden eagles perched on a ledge high up the mountainside. He studied them through his binoculars, admiring their wild beauty. Eventually they spread their wings, launched themselves from the ledge, caught the breeze, and soared along the face of the cliff. Their strength and gracefulness stirred something deep in Bill's soul. That night, by the light of his campfire, Bill looked up the word eagle in his concordance and followed the references through his Bible. One particular passage fascinated him. In Exodus 19, verse 4, the Lord compared the ministry of Moses to the wings of an eagle. Why should God compare his prophet to an eagle? Perhaps it was because an eagle could fly higher and see farther than any other creature on earth. Yes, that was the calling of all God's prophets. The Lord gave them an ability to go higher and see farther in spiritual realms than anyone else, letting them view the past and the future as well as the truth and falsehood. Bill had seen portions of the future, and those glimpses always came true. Did that mean he had something in common with Moses? When the angel met him in that old cabin, the angel said, "As the prophet Moses was given 2 signs to prove he was sent from God, so will you be given 2 signs." Bill turned to Exodus 3 and read where God met the shepherd Moses, commanding him to take a message of deliverance back to the Israelites, still enslaved in Egypt. In Exodus 4, Bill read, "And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. And he, the Lord, said, Cast it on the ground. And he, Moses, cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. That they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he, the Lord, said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he, Moses, put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. Evidently God knew how hesitant the Israelites would be to believe Moses was a prophet sent from the great I Am. Those 2 supernatural signs were specifically designed to impress and convince. Obviously no man could do such things on his own. The signs manifested the power of God. Like Moses, Bill had also looked at his own inadequacies when the angel said to him to take a gift of divine healing to the people of the world. Like Moses, he was also promised 2 signs to vindicate his commission. He looked down at his left hand. Night after night in the meetings, he watched the back of his hand swell to the vibrations of various diseases. After Jesus cast the demons out, Bill watched his hand return to normal. It never failed. But what about the second sign? The angel said, If you will stay humble and sincere, it will come to pass that you will be able to tell by vision the very secrets of their hearts. Then the people will have to believe you. What did that mean? When would it happen? Bill pitched another log into the fire and leaned back against the tree, wondering what other parallels existed between the life of Moses and his own. When God used Moses to deliver the children of Israel out of captivity in Egypt, he revealed himself in a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Certainly God had appeared in many forms down through history, yet a cloud and a pillar of fire seemed to be 2 of his most common mantles. In fact, it was the Lord in the form of a pillar of fire that had first caught Moses' attention in the wilderness, when he saw a bush on fire, but the bush was not consumed. Could that pillar of fire be the same star that led the wise men from Persia to Bethlehem, where they found the baby King Jesus? It definitely was the blinding light that converted Saul of Tarsus into Paul the Apostle. Was that pillar of fire the same light that appeared in the cabin the morning he was born? Was it also the same blazing star that appeared above him when he baptized his first converts in 1933? Was it the light that appeared in that old cabin the night the angel met him? That angel had walked out from the midst of a pillar of fire. What exactly was the connection between that pillar of fire and the angel of the Lord? Every time the angel visited Bill in human form, that supernatural light circled a few feet above the angel's head. Thinking about the angel of the Lord, Bill suddenly felt troubled. For the first year of Bill's healing ministry, the angel had appeared to him frequently. Now it had been 6 months since the angel's last visit. Bill had not seen the angel since Vandalia, Illinois, when the angel had cautioned him against putting too much emphasis on miracles. Bill missed the angel's visits. Why was he absent? Was something still wrong?